Let's get into it. Arbuz versus Sziky, game 3. Sziky in the top right, he is our red, no, blood Zerg. And Arbuz down here in the bottom left, he is our... Is he rocking mint now? I feel like this is one of those like weird colors like asparagus or something. I'll say mint, but it's vine green. There you go. All right. Red versus green instead of red versus blue. Sziky going to be going for his patented pool, 8 pool. This is Serenity. This map has very short rush distance. And I don't know what this tile is, but it's bitty bee. Silly doodad. Arbuz opened Gateway last game, and I did feel like the move that Sziky went for would have countered it, but I guess it just hit a little bit too late. Because by that time, the detection was there, the Assilient came out, so sustained fights are kind of off the table. I honestly think he's just not making enough Lakes. I think it's as simple as that. Trying to attack on one base while you're getting your natural set up is also a little bit dangerous versus a 2-base Protoss. Larvosk a little bit faster than the last game, I think. And it will be Ecclesiast into Zealot. That's an interesting build order. Back when Arbuz was a fresh player, he participated as I think a last-second substitute for somebody else who couldn't make it in one of our invitationals. He fought against Hit 'em Up and Hamster. And I think he actually took second place. Like, Hamster wasn't able to do too well in that situation, and he almost beat Hit 'em Up one time. Probably should have beaten Hit 'em Up. I think that was a Paradise match, and he didn't know that he could just kill the Larvosk and end the game because it's just production. For the victory condition, it's not any building. So, yeah, those are some Zealot Ecclesiast origins for Arbuz. He showed the world about Zealot Ecclesiast very nicely. Couple quads, just moving on down to seeing what's going on. That's the military investment for Sziky. One thing that I do think, once Sziky figures out the ratio of like when it's safe to build workers versus when it's not, when he really dials that in, he is going to be really, really scary. Because StarCraft 1 Zerg pros are all about that. When can I expand safely? When can I keep making workers safely? For the Zerg to be this close to the Protoss at this stage of the game, you have to have a small amount of military units. And this is versus a 3-gate, so this is no joke. Like, Arbuz's hit is going to hit, like, his attack is going to hit very, very quickly. And we have a much faster expansion. This should be a little bit more in Sziky's wheelhouse. He's also going for the Ovaleth. I personally like the Ovaleth when you see gateway units a little bit more than the Spraith. I think the Spraith is good for when you see lattice units. Ovaleth is good always, but you got to fit it into your build order at a certain time. So he has made a round of Quas, intuiting that the attack is likely coming soon. He's next made a round of Zethicors, and he's got more Zeths on the way. Ooh, a little burrow trap. I don't mind that. The Quas probably need to get into position, though, because Arbuz hasn't noticed it. He walked over several of them. This feels like a mistake. Now the Zet's on burrow, and he's kind of locked in here. He's going to have to fight his way out, and he's not going to be able to kill that hatch either. This is going to be really disastrous if Arbuz can't micro perfectly here. Trying to get rid of those Zethicors first, which is a good initial move, but there's enough Quas that it does still feel like this is doable for Sziky. He's got more units on the way. Wasn't able to quite finish off some of those Ecclesiasts. If I'm Arbuz, I just leave this position because that was so scary. I could have lost my whole army and been very far behind, but Arbuz, he knows it. He knows what's going on. He knows his limits. Been in this position before. Zealots and Ecclesiasts, more of them on the way. Some Droleths making a surprise appearance to start setting up some static defense. Zethicor is just frustrating this position. As soon as an Ecclesiast goes down, the speed boost is going to kick in from its corpse. So you do have to watch out for that a little bit. The Ovaleth continuing to soak up a little bit of damage from those Ecclesiasts. Some of these Zealots are pretty low. Some of these Ecclesiasts are pretty low as well. And the static defense is starting to come alive. Won't be long before those circuits finish up. You can see Arbuz trying his best to focus down some of the units up top, but the Zethicors are coming in to shred those Zealots in the front line. The Quas have a much harder time versus the Zealots, but the Zethicors will eat them for breakfast. And the big surround, body blocking with the Quas. It's a single file massacre now. Arbuz losing almost everything. Most of the HP on that Zealot, too. He killed 2 workers worth of structures. That's about it. Obviously, everything else was just denying worker creation. But Sziky now has 6 workers in production. Sure, you've got an Ardent Authority on the way. It isn't your natural, so that is a potential victory condition for your opponent. You take out the tier 2 tech, the first one that the Protoss makes, they are almost immediately thrust into an unsalvageable position. You know, people don't like making pylons. That's just the way it goes. Still just pool units right now for Sziky. He has not teched out of that position. Hasn't even made the pond, so really doubling down on just larva and buying time with Zeth Quaz versus Zealot Ecclesias. Not something you would normally think would even be possible. We don't have an embassy yet, so we know that it's not going to be an Acantor drop, but we'll keep an eye out for that sort of thing. Sedent, very quickly at the natural. Interesting choice, and the Zealot Ecclesias ball is going to start falling back, worrying about a surround, worrying about Lakes or Vornath or anything like that. We know that nothing like that is coming. Instead, it's just going to be quad Circuit at the natural here, and the units are going to body block the ramp. I think Sziky enjoys playing on Serenity, honestly. It seems like a map that he doesn't mind on. There's the embassy, though, so we will end up seeing an Acantor drop, I think. Unlikely for Sziky to kind of just intuit that. And now he's got enough Vespene for tier 2, so that's what this was. Spend only military. The only military expenditures are, besides the Ovaleth, if you want to count that, were minerals. It was just pool units. Quaz, Zeth. That's it. Looks like, is Sziky trying to... Oh, I don't know. He's trying to get up here with a unit, but something's in the way. I just can't imagine what it is. Oh, and now he's going for anti-drop measures. I wonder if he saw something that gave it away. I didn't see how deep some of his units went, but it looks like his Quaz died over here, and I think that was before the Acantor even showed up, so... Sometimes you just kind of do it because at some point the drop is going to happen. That wounded Zealot already has taken care of plenty of action there. Took almost 300 damage. Pretty impressive. Will he survive this one? The answer is yes. Oh, he was on move command. The answer might not be yes. Yeah, he's fine. Iral Iris complete. Second Ardent Authority on the way. Third Ardent Authority on the way, excuse me. It's going to be Positron. That's something that Oya did in the show match versus Sziky and in some practice games. Sziky going for the Mutat Spire. He might be going for Protathalors again. We saw him make those yesterday, and this game was played yesterday, so we know that it's fresh in his mind. But he also likes himself some Mutas. Ooh, denying the third base. Very, very good for Sziky. His Zethracore is just kind of roving around the map looking for openings. If he can isolate an Acantor or something, that could be really nice, but it doesn't look very likely right now. It's going to fall away after losing so many Zeths. Third base now on the way for our Zerg player and our Protoss player alike. The Ovaleth sees the Witness, but unfortunately the Quaz kind of getting body blocked by the Zeths, so it will not be destroyed. Oh, that's a nice little catch on 3 Zealots. Arbu's not able to get out of the dodge there. He is kind of cycling through his army. He's only got the 1 Acantor, and that's a lot of Zethrakors. Protathalors are indeed on the way. The Calcure Lake's starting up, so we will end up seeing some Lyrilisks as well. I'd love to see Sziky experiment with Calculisks, but this doesn't really seem like the game for them. Positrons are definitely going to be deadly against them. You can see Sziky looking for something, anything. Yeah, he's looking for that third base cancel. That's what he wants. Diving back the Zeths. Is there going to be a cancel from that? Arbuz cannot save it. Okay, he does cancel it, and at the last second possible, and now going after his own kill on the third base. But there's Protathalors out, man. I don't know if that's the right move, honestly. This is really, really deadly. I don't think he knows that tier 2 is out. The Protathalors will reveal it. Sure, losing Zealots is fine here for Arbuz, although he shouldn't lose so many of them. He's completely gobsmacked, focused entirely on trying to deal with these Zethrakors so that he can get his third base up. But he's lost a lot of his chaff, and that means the Protathalors can reign supreme over that mid-range army if they ever get the opportunity to fight again. Looking like a much more controlled game here for Sziky as he takes 3 o'clock in response to that. Matraval Nest in the natural. Don't get it twisted. That's not a tech structure for, getting Hive. That does unlock several units. It unlocks the Vilgoricore, a key unit in the sort of mid-game section for Zerg. It unlocks things like the Matroleth, which is a bit more of a specialist. It's the Queen equivalent. Also unlocks the Convolesque, which, realistically speaking, is probably one of the best units out of it, but the Vilgoricore adds a lot of HP. Ooh, Ooh. So the Matrolith also lets you infest any unit or structure. You just have to have the Matrolith channeling when the unit dies, and the Matrolith itself doesn't do any damage. So we could end up seeing him steal some Acantors or something like that if he's given the opportunity. The anti-air is pretty limited, right? It's just the Positrons and the Servitors. There are enough of them right now that I still wouldn't expect the Matrolith to find too much success, but I think Sziky's army absolutely trounces what Arbuz has. It really does depend on the engagement, but the engagement can't be taken by Arbuz's army. He can't really set up for an engagement. He has no tools for that. No heralds, certainly no, like, I guess he could probably bust his own servitors to speed up into a position, but he has no Malefactor, he has no Maelstrom from a Mind Tyrant or anything like that, so... And he has no real meaty melee units to make space. Sure, he's got Zealots, but it doesn't feel like that's quite enough. Static Defense erected. Another thing that the Matrolith provides is every unit with that green pulse overlay in a small radius around the Matrolith is going to apply Ensnare when they attack. So that's less movement speed and less attack speed. Very powerful aura. Bottom right being taken by Arbuz. His third base is going to be under duress here. And the third for Sziky is already starting to pay out dividends with Static Defense coming up and some Matrolith units on the way, or some Matravel units on the way. Now the third base being engaged as a counter. Gotta watch out. We'll see if he uses the Matrolith for anything in particular. Maybe Arbuz is thinking about attacking into the natural. That would feel like a mistake to me. His army is going to be really out of position, and he is going to be losing way more than Sziky is, especially if that Nexus ends up going down, or, dare I say, being infested. But that's not what Sziky is dealing with right now. He's going to go ahead and try to mount some kind of defense. Not infesting, he's going to go ahead and use the Vilgaleth to create a lot of brood spawn. That will help him overwhelm the defenders even more cost efficiently. And then what does he do? Does he return home and try to stop this attack from ending his tech? That seems to be the option here, but instead, no, he will base race. He will be the one to go after the counter push. He wants the exciting conclusion to the game. The Spire is going to go down, so he won't have access to more Mutas. He won't have access to more Protathalors, these artillery units that have been tearing through some of the structures. Very, very good at that. Sziky has not found the infest button yet. The Convolisks are slowly building up, a really powerful force, by the way. You got to watch out for that. You can see him just constantly cycling back to add more and more static defense. He's got this entrenched position over here at 3 o'clock, and I think Arbuz doesn't yet realize it. I'm not so sure. Dathalor's finishing off the Acantors in a big way. You can see the Nexus going to be focused down next, it looks like. His units are very split right now, but it does look like he has overwhelmed the position. Arbuz has so much money, but cannot spend much of it. He could be building out of the gateways, but right now he is not. At least we get an entertaining salvo here. At this point, it does kind of feel like Sziky's army might be in a position where he can't really do much versus Arbuz's. There is no more production coming. I definitely feel like Arbuz could have had a Pariah out by now. Especially with the bank that he's got. Dropping the ball a little bit there. And he has lost everything in the natural. So the main will be next. He's got this Nexus as a saving grace. Hydrith Den now started for Sziky, and not much production for him, of course. The Matravel Nest going down. 2 more Convolisks are on the way. So he will be able to grab a couple more units out of that structure before the Protoss delete it. Oh, that pylon's going to go down before the Pariah can finish, so that hesitation, that lack of attention from Arbuz definitely costing him. Instead, he's going to go ahead and warp in Prostration Stage, Ancestral Archives. Goddamn, man. Spending his bank on just infrastructure. He has no harvesting right now. Hasn't made any scribes over here. He had a pocket Nexus somewhere just to add to it. Some Hydras on the way. This is a well enough defended position that it will be a little bit arduous for Arbuz to deal with. He's going to have to wait for his units to mass up together. He's not at risk of being eliminated just yet, but this is still a pretty... if this army links up with the defense force, especially with the help of those Hydras, I actually think Sziky can try to mount a sort of defense here. The Protathalors will deal with the Acantors. The range is way higher for the Protathalor. It's +2. So if they link up there, that's a pretty big dub. Because then there's no more Acantors for splash damage. It's just the Positrons that you have to rely on. You can see him trying to body block with the Vilgoricor. Shields up to 200 damage. All right, now here comes the engagement going after the Acantors. There's only 2 of them, and the first one pops immediately. All right, one last shot. Vilgorikor is providing some Carapace for him when they can, but this is an overwhelming amount between the Brood Spawn slowing attack speed and reducing armor, and the Matroleth providing that ensnare debuff. Oh, it's brutal. Army fighting way less efficiently than it should, and there were 2 Acantors over here instead of down where they should have been with the rest of the army. That feels like a critical whiff. The base trade is complete as Sziky won't be taking the bottom left area, but Arbuz is definitely taking top right. Gotta watch out, no chaff left. But you can say the same for Arbuz's side. And the Convolisks are providing as best as they can, but this does look like a really dire situation. Especially if this bottom right base ever gets found. See a Hatteros being made within vision of this witness. Yeah. So he doesn't know that there's not that much efficiency coming from this base. It's really just like a vestigial hope until it starts massing up more workers. More Hydras on the way for Sziky. His larva count is super low. And yeah, he's just going to play dodgeball a little bit, try to range down the Acantors, maybe snipe individual units, and he'll be good at it. Remember, he's also able to apply Ensnare as long as his Matroleth is nearby, which makes it even harder to fall away from that position. Oh, one Patathlor tagged. I think he's going to have to trade for it. No, Arbuz does not pull the trigger. Hydra's waiting. He's just being whittled down by the Patathlors. Up Tecton on the way. You guys have probably noticed that the Kagro, the creep, was still there for Sziky's remnants of the base, and Arbuz still was able to build on it. That's because if there's no active creep generator there, the Kagro is still buildable, so you don't have, it doesn't block if you've killed all the structures, you can build there right away. A Potentate on the way. No way! Arbuz making Potentates? That's wild. Almost lost another Acantor. Man, he's so low on units. If that Optecton, it does get out. The first shot is up there. How's he going to deal with that? Well, he might not need to worry too much. One of the Acantors is very low. There's really only artillery at this point, and they just pounced directly onto the Acantors. That low one annihilated immediately. The focus fire now onto that Optecton, but is it going to be quite enough? I feel like the answer is yes. Oh, it's overwhelmed, and that's a wrap. There's no more units. Arbuz, GG's. Sziky will take a game, and it was exciting. It was in a non-standard way. Not at all how you would expect it to go.